All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. This is CY1 Day One. And the best way that I can describe how this day should go is it should be full of excitement and enthusiasm. We want to see our students, we want them to feel welcomed if they have not already, especially for some of them, this might be their only summer session class. So you're their first impression. So keep that in mind. On their desks, they should already have their t-shirt, password, their planner, the planner marker, and a pen. They should not have Skittles on their desk. That's for day 2. And also you should, as they're coming in, your TA should be outside of the class greeting them. You could be with the TA outside of the class, or if you would prefer, you can be inside the class, be the second person that they meet, and just direct them to the bell ringer, which is right here under today's to-dos, or getting the rest of the class set up if you have a lot of classes that day. As kids are coming in, there might be some excitement. One thing that I really liked that Cedric Ebner did last year is he would have music in the background playing as students come in. That definitely makes for a really great vibe, especially if you have morning classes. So if you're period 0, period 1, it might be a great way of kind of engaging and waking them up. So as they're coming in, you'll notice that the bell's going to ring. And first thing you should do is say, hi and welcome. This is Cub Year 1 First Year Foundations. We have so much to get into today. But for the first 3 minutes, we're going to go to this bell ringer. And bell ringers are what we use in a lot of our classrooms. Sometimes they're called warm-ups. Sometimes they're called pre-games. There's lots of different names for it. But essentially, it's kind of what you should be doing as you get in and between the bell ringing. So we actually have done a bell ringer after the fact. In theory, next class on Thursday's class, my expectation is you're going to get here, get to your seat, and start your bell ringer without me having to say so. But because this is the first time, let's go ahead and give it a go. Great thing for you to do at this time is, as you all are doing your bell ringer, page 24 of your CY1 planner, I'm going to be taking attendance. So you might just want to say, hey, who's here? Take attendance, start to see names and faces. And remind them that they're reflecting on this quote and writing down what it means to them on that page. 3 minutes are going to go up and be like, hey, every time we do CY1, we're going to start with sort of this intro slide deck. And you'll notice that we orient ourselves around these things called grad values. Today's grad value, this is kind of what we expect you to become once you graduate from Loyola, is open to growth. So I'm going to click on open to growth, and as you can see, this is on our website. This is important to who we are. And can somebody read for me what open to growth is at Loyola High School? Have a student learn their name, go ahead and have them reflect on that. Once they've done that, you can go ahead and say thank you for that. Keep open to growth in mind as we go through our Cub Year 1. Now we're going to pray. Most of our classes, because we're a Jesuit Catholic school, we begin in prayer. This prayer is called the Sushi Pay. It's one that you're going to be very familiar with. It's on page 12 of your CY1 planners because it's something you have to memorize for your theology class. So let's go ahead and pray this together. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Take, Lord, and receive all my liberty, do the whole thing. And at the very end, we do this thing. We have this tradition at Loyola, and I'll say St. Ignatius of Loyola, and your response is going to be pray for us. So let's practice that a little bit. St. Ignatius of Loyola, pray for us. St. Ignatius of Loyola, pray for us. So do that a couple times. And then finally, let's do it for real. We just prayed the Sushi Pay. St. Ignatius of Loyola, pray for us. Excellent. I'm excited to practice that with you as we continue. So really quickly, today's agenda, we've just gone over our bell ringer. We're going to go over these things called norms. So keep that planner, page 24, open. We'll engage in something called a name picnic, dyads, quads. We'll spend some time going over the syllabus and expectations. And then finally, kind of explaining your homework, as well as like login information. So really quickly, you might notice on your planner that these images pop up. These are called our norms. Does anyone know what a norm is? And see if what students come up with in terms of what might a norm be. And I would say a good way of thinking about it is norms are sort of our standards, our ways of being or proceeding. Some might even call them rules. And so just figure out what the students are thinking. And so as we're thinking about this grad value of being open to growth, we're inviting you to engage in these norms. And then maybe have each student's volunteer and read, be present, witness with your whole self, listen with care, hang in there, welcome multiple viewpoints, God in all things. And you'll notice on your planner today, it says pick one of these norms and, go ahead and select it as what you're committing to today. And it's a silent commitment. You don't have to tell anybody in the class, but it's more for you. So do you need to be present? Did you have a hard time getting to school today? Maybe you just need to hang in there. Maybe you need to work on witnessing with the whole self, mind, body, and spirit, or the five senses. Give them opportunity to mark that down on their planner, circle it, and write down which norm they've picked. Awesome. So again, these are the things that I'm expecting of you every class, and basically in any Loyola environment. We want you to be doing these things at all times, recognizing that we are a diverse group of humans. Once we do that, this is the first third of the lesson. So this is going to be lengthy. And as I said in the professional development portion on Monday, it's okay if this takes time, but know that your students might get a little tired and exhausted by this. So you might have to take breaks or might have to switch up the activity a little bit. So, hey, you know what? To begin our CY1 experience, we're going to begin by going on a picnic. And we're not just going to go on any picnic. We're going to go on maybe a metaphorical journey. So let's have everybody stand up. You already hopefully are in a circle. So they're in a circle, let's stand up. And if I have my TA in me, I'm going to have my TA be the first person and I'm going to be the last person. So just for modeling though, show them how it would go. So my name is Mrs. Pardo, and Pardo starts with a P. So I am Mrs. Pardo and I am bringing pizza to the CY1 picnic. Pardo, pizza. And then let's pretend that my TA is Jason Lopez. And so I say, oh, hey, Jason, introduce yourself. My name is Jason and I'm bringing jam. And this is Mrs. Pardo, and she's bringing pizza. Let's pretend that Aaron Bryden is next to Jason Lopez, and Aaron will be like, hi, my name is Aaron, and I'm bringing eggs. This is Jason, he's bringing jam, and this is Mrs. Pardo, she's bringing pizza. So the whole point is, as you'll notice, that every single person has to repeat the food item, as well as the first letter of their, and it has to be alliterative more or less to speak, and same letter that it starts with. And that's the pattern. Now, this could go by really fast if you've got a really quick active class. To some degree, what I found is people get really anxious and forget, especially if you're later down on the line. So what you might want to do, especially if you have a class of like above 20, we do have a couple of classes of like 22 and 25, is you might just want to have some of the activity be standing and have a stretch break in the middle. Stretch it out. Okay, we're almost there. We're halfway through. If you're like on number 12 or 13, let's keep going. Right? And so that's sort of the idea of this activity. Once we've done that, thank you for participating in this name picnic. It's really great to get to know your names. Congratulations. Let's go ahead and take a seat. Now, we're going to keep all these things in mind. You know what? It's dyad time. Does anybody know what a dyad is? And, hopefully someone will be like, it's a group of two. Yeah, it's a pair. You'll notice my sock GIF is sort of there to help them. Now, this is a suggestion. I would have a spreadsheet on your computer, maybe on a separate tab, and just list those names of the kids that you have in your class and just teams or number of teams. So if I have, 15 kids, or let's say I have 20 kids, I want to have 10 teams, right? And then I'm going to go, or I can create teams by number of participants. Let's do teams of 2. You're going to generate a team. And what's great about that is this is a way of quickly pairing kids together without having, because what's going to happen is later in the lesson plan or later in the curriculum, you're going to have lots of pair activities. And I don't want the same kids, especially if they know each other already, to be in the same group. We want to kind of diversify. So, okay. I clicked on this. All right, here are your pairs. I want you to go find your person. Excellent. Now go ahead and sit with them. Before we begin this activity, I want you to think about this idea of listening. And so this is where we start to say, what do you think active listening looks like? And what do you think active listening is? And so, look for different things. I would say it's your attention. So ask again for what the kids are thinking, but be prepared to ad lib a little bit and provide. So attitude, attention, and adjustment. So again, maybe it's how I lean towards somebody. I know when I'm teaching, I know kids are paying attention when they're sit up. You're gonna notice all the kids will sit up straight when you do that. Nodding, again, leaning in, eye contact. These are all the ways that I know someone is listening. I might ask, well, how does that look on Zoom? And how does that look different in person? And on Zoom, maybe it's making sure you can fully see your face and all of that stuff. So give them opportunity to think about synchronous learning and in-person learning. And then finally, how does this look different from silent listening? And silent listening, there really isn't any paraphrasing. There's also no like affirmations. So we go through this listening process, and you're going to say, with your partners today, with your dyads, I want you to really practice active listening. So the first thing I want you to think about is this. Partner A, and you can arbitrarily decide who's partner A. Whoever has the longest hair, they're partner A, partner B, shortest hair. Okay. Partner A, you are going to introduce yourself and tell your life story in 1.5 minutes. I know that seems like a lot, but it's going to go by so quickly. Partner B, you're going to listen actively to what your partner shares. Let me be very clear that you need to really pay attention to what they're saying, because you're going to need this information later. You're going to have 1.5 minutes to do that. Partner A, raise your hand. All right, you're sharing. Ready, set, go. We do the process. And then this timer goes up. You gotcha. Guess what? Now we're switching roles. Partner B, raise your hand. You're going to be the one speaking. Partner A, you are listening carefully. Do the timer one more time. Awesome. If you feel the need to debrief it, do it. But honestly, just keep moving, especially because this is the second third of the lesson. And the faster we get through this, the more likely you will get through all of the lesson. Now, again, do you have to? Absolutely not. So here we go. Now I want a pair to find another pair to make a quad. Let's go ahead and do that. Now, in theory, all of our classes are, 24 or 20 or 16, but unfortunately we do have a couple of classes that are like 18, 17. So you might have groups of 5, you might have groups of 6. It's okay. Just do what you can with what you will. And say, all right, if you're in a quad, I want you now to do something that's kind of hard. You are going to introduce your partner and tell his life story in 45 seconds. Yeah, you heard it right. You're going to tell his story, not your story, in 45 seconds. This might be hard. So in the event that you make some mistakes, if your partner messes up something, just say oops, and then the other person can, or just say ouch, and the other person can say oops, and we're going to move on, fix it, and keep going, because we don't want to spend time arguing about getting a detail wrong, because it's already hard enough to do this. So we've got our groups of 4. I've got a 45-second timer. Ready, set, partner. Let's figure out whoever partner A is. Partner A is the person that lives closest to Loyola. Partner D, the 4th person, is the one that lives furthest away. Figure that out. Ready, set, go. Okay, they do that. All right, partner A, tell your other partner's story. Go. Okay, we did that. 45 seconds. Do it again, do it again, do it again. If you have time, once they've done their life story exercise, give them some time to think about this quote that they reflected on. This is part of their bell ringer. We're bringing it back. In those same quad groups, let's go ahead and now think about, what does this mean? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. This can be easily skipped if you don't have time. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and take a seat. Let's talk about what we just experienced during dyad and quad time. So first, what was that like for you? What was that experience of telling someone else's story and having to actively listen, get some volunteers, some hands? During your quote discussion, what did you all discuss? What came up for you? Were you able to answer like what it means to you? How does this apply to Loyola? Why do you think we chose this quote, especially for your first year, your Cub Year 1? How do you think this is related to open to growth? Like, again, you've got so many options. You get to decide based off of where you're at. Awesome, y'all. I really appreciate your enthusiasm. Yes, Cub Year 1, and this is where you kind of take the wheel. This should be the last like 20 to 25 minutes of class. You need to have at least 10 minutes designated to, or 15 minutes designated to the login information, as well as the homework explanation. So here we are, Cub Year 1, first year foundations. And you know what? I find that a lot of people always ask, like, it's sort of like the best kept secret of Loyola. Like, what is a CY1 thing? And so here I am to explain to you as best as I can, CY1, if we can whittle it down into a few phrases. Cub Year 1 is about understanding your story, Loyola story and your Loyola story. We're going to spend some time telling you about ourselves, we have a rich history and tradition. We want to get to know you. That's why we do things like the name picnic and other activities you'll find throughout CY. Also, you are now the newest co-authors of Loyola's History and Legacy. You are going to help us understand how to continue moving forward. And we're so excited to do that with you. So think about this. This is your opportunity to create your first or your best first impression. Let's do that today. Some other nuts and bolts really quickly. We want to prepare you for Loyola High School, ease your transition, practice hard and soft skills, care for you holistically, keep you in the loop, and meet new people and provide a network of support. Yeah, this whole class is literally for you to meet each other, to meet an adult from Loyola, myself, and also just to get used to the rhythm and tempo of this place. That's it. I'm not going to spend too much more time on this because, again, they're going to figure out this classes as they experience it. Many students want to know how this was created. This was created by adults and actually was data collection from Frosh in the past. And so we've done it for you, certainly, because we want you to be prepared, but we're doing it for our adult community because they know that you've had advanced onboarding. So when we have a baseline, we know that every freshman has experienced Canvas and knows how to turn something in. We know that every freshman knows what Lockdown Browser is and can use it. We know that so notice that it's important that you take this seriously because all of the adults on campus are expecting that you've got these skills down pat because of the course that we're in. So yes, there are all the rules and conduct that you can think of for summer session apply in this classroom. But if I have 3 things to tell you, that the rules in this class are be prepared, be productive, and be respectful. Prepared, you show up with the materials that you're supposed to have every class, which I'll go over today, but minimally is a writing utensil, your planner, and your laptop. You're going to be productive. We're not going to waste time just chit-chatting when it's not necessary. You'll notice in the quad and dyad activity, we loved that you were talking. That's appropriate. But in these transitions, I need you all focused because we have very robust agendas. We want to get a lot done in a little bit of time. And then finally, be respectful. Respect looks like respecting yourself. Do you respect yourself enough to show up in an appropriate way? Do you respect me, your teacher, by listening and following directions? Do you respect one another and treating one another well? And then finally, do you respect this campus? Again, this is your first impression. Respecting this campus is when you leave here, you take all of your stuff with you. There's no trash on the ground and you're not writing on the desks or anything. This is what we expect of Loyola students, that you are a high caliber, high performing person, but on top of it, that you are a person of good character. So notice I also put these norms at the bottom for you to remember that, when you are welcoming multiple perspectives or witnessing with your whole self, you are doing these things. So by following our norms and by following our 3 class rules, you should be totally fine. If we run into issues, you know that I'm going to have to speak to Dr. Mavra, our dean, as well as your parents or guardians, depending on what happens. We have the saying in CY, to be C4L, you have to start with CY1. CY is part of a 4-year scaffold. So this idea that we're just going to have the CY1 summer class and then off you go, that's not how this works. We're going to have CY1 summer, and then during the school year, you'll have a CY1 class that you'll meet with throughout the year. CY2, CY3, and CY4. So it's really this idea of walking alongside of you and mentoring you. So now that we've spent some time going over what CY1 is, you might want to ask, are there any questions about what we're doing before we get into a really important nuts and bolts thing? And wait for questions, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's go ahead and log in. This is really important. On your desk, you might have noticed that you have a sheet of paper with a unique password. I want you today, go to pages 15 and 16 of your planner. I want you to follow the instructions for one login and go ahead and use this unique password. Let's get logged in. Once you are logged in using your unique password, you're going to notice that it's a temporary password. It is going to ask you to change it. You're going to change it in class today. Figure out where you need to write it down so that you don't forget it, because you're going to need this password and your computer for the rest of your Loyola career, and especially CY1. If you've done those 2 things that I've asked you to do, then you'll notice when you log into one login, there are these buttons, and you're going to click on Canvas. When you get to Canvas, go ahead and put your laptop lid down, showing me that you're ready to move on because we still have one more thing to do after this. This is where you and your TA, once you've explained it, should be walking around, checking in, making sure that everybody's situated and good to go. In the event that a kid can't log in for whatever reason, you can send them up to P203. That's the best. They're ready for all sorts of issues. So I said, all right, tech office, I'm going to have freshmen that might be coming up and looking to see you and visit. So that's there for you as well. Once they've all got their laptop lids, maybe 80%, 90%, if you could get all 100% of their laptop lids down, then we can actually explain the homework. All right, let's look ahead. First, I told you be prepared as part of our curriculum. You need this planner that's on your desk. You need to bring that to Thursday. In fact, my advice to you is that you bring that to every class, even if you don't for summer session. This is your planner for the school year. It's not just for CY1, it's for the school year. You need to bring your MacBook. It needs to be fully charged and in good condition. You need to bring a writing utensil. For next class, I'd like you to bring a secondary device. That could be an iPad or a cell phone. If you don't have a secondary device, come see me after class and we'll figure out something else for you. All right, let's go to our planners, page 51, and I want you to write down your first 2 homework assignments. Good, today is June 20th. Let's write that up. We have a Canvas 101, that's due Friday, 8 a.m. And next class, Genius Scan and Canvas, those are due Thursday. Go ahead and write in parentheses page 17 through 20 of planner, because those are the instructions for downloading. And I'm going to actually, because we have the time to do this, I'm going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to go to Canvas. I'm going to click on a course card. For the purposes of right now, I'm going to pretend that I'm in, I'm Erin. So I open up her class. I'm going to click on student view. The reason why I do that is sometimes what I love is this little like to-do list. It's really great. So notice, oh, Genius Scan app, Canvas app, that's due June 22nd. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Oh, it's locked. Well, that's because it's not available because it's not June 19th yet. But in theory, you understand that you should put this in student view so they understand how to find it. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way for you all. We're going to go to Canvas 101. Notice that it says 4 steps, 1 through 3. Follow the instructions on this slide deck. So first, anything Google Chrome has visuals and GIFs to help you out. You are going to download Google Chrome, log out of your personal email, and bookmark and retitle the following websites. You should have 1, 2, 3, 5 websites. Then you're going to go to this slide deck. You're going to notice that again, visuals and GIFs to help you out. You are going to set up a profile picture, make sure it's appropriate, set up notification preferences, check cell phone for text. Then step 5, most importantly, is you're going to go to this notification page. You're going to screenshot it, Command-Shift-3. And on that screenshot, I should see 5 bookmarks. Mine are different, obviously, but theirs should look specific. A profile picture, that's appropriate. And then notifications. So I should see that they have clicked green or left unmarked those things. And that is going to be your first assignment. Any questions about this? Excellent. That's a 10-point assignment due Friday. What time? 8 a.m. Good. I'm going to go back to my module. And you also notice that next class, that's Thursday's class, you need to have your second, remember that second device needs to have these 2 apps on it. It needs Canvas and it needs Genius Scan. Notice that it's on page 17 of your CY1 planner and page 18. So you can use your planner or you can click on the digital instructions. So it's just the same page, but now online. This should take 5 to 10 minutes. You're bringing your cell phone to next class. And then also notice that I know that I've told you if you don't have a secondary device to tell me. Otherwise, I'm going to mark a 0, right? So those are your 2 assignments. Any questions about how to find your assignments? Okay, great. Last, but certainly not least, late work for CY. will only be accepted through June 30th. That's going to be Friday of next week. Every time you submit something late, I'm going to take 10% off for that late credit. After June 30th, I will not accept your late work and it will be a 0. So again, giving you a little bit of grace is your first time, but typically at Loyola, your facilitators, your teachers don't accept late work. Let's say you don't understand anything that's going on because a lot of the tech onboarding for this class is happening via homework assignments or in class, and you need help. You need extra help. We have a tech office, that's P203, but you also can set up an appointment with Mrs. Pardo. She is our director of Cub Year programs and specifically CY1 summer session, and she's happy to meet with you one-on-one to help you out with any of your issues, okay? If you have extra time, this is a great moment to say, hey, why don't we go ahead and get started on our homework? If you don't and the bell is about to ring, it's so grateful that I got to know you. And as they're leaving, maybe bye Cameron, who's bringing collard greens, bye, Jorge, who's bringing juice, like whatever it is, just make sure you're finding ways of making them feel welcome and special and all that fun stuff. And that is CY1 Day One. Good job.